x squared plus bx plus c. So an example of this would be three different types. There's three different types. There's ones where we have two pluses in our solution. We have a plus and then a minus in our solution, and then we have a minus and a minus in our solution. So here's what we're going to do. All right. What's going to happen is, imagine if I have the numbers 3 and 5. That's what we're focusing on right now. The numbers 3 and 5. Now, this number, 3 and 5, can be added to get 8. So in the middle of our equation, notice I have 8 and 15. So I have to times to 15, but then I have to add to 8. So what I'll do is I'll go through all these numbers, and I have, well, 3 times 5 gives us, well, 15. But then 3 plus 5 gives us 8. Now that's excellent. Now that I have my numbers being 3 and 5, what I'm going to do is I go and make my brackets. And my brackets are too thin. So I've got my brackets. And I start with x and x in both brackets, but then I put in plus 3 and plus 5 as my answers. And you see where they came from. They came from our numbers that we had talked about earlier. All right. Now, imagine I have a problem that looks like this for the plus minus type problem. So let's say I have x squared plus 2x and then minus 15. So what I'm looking for is two numbers that multiply to minus 15, but then it must add to the middle number, 2. So what I'm going to do is I first of all start by checking. I basically check the 5 is 15, but it's not negative 15. So that means I have to go back and I have to choose one of these numbers to be negative. In order to ensure that I have a number that is positive, I'm going to have to choose the 3 to be negative. So in this case, I'm going to have negative 3 plus 5, which will give me 2, but then negative 3 times 5 also gives me negative 15, which is what we wanted. So I'm going to give myself a check mark there. Whew. So that means the numbers are this, negative 3 and 5. So when we write our solution, we put our brackets, we put our x in front, and then we're going to use minus 3 and positive 5 as our answers for our brackets for when we're factoring. So now imagine if I have a minus and a minus. Okay, is that even possible? So imagine you have x squared plus 2, no, x squared minus 2x minus 2x and then minus 15. So it says I have to get a minus 15, right? And we're also going to be looking for we're going to have to find two numbers that multiply to 15. So, well, we're checking 3 and 5 again because you know what, we're not really good with addition of integers. So we'll go, okay, 3 and 5 just like before, and then we say, okay, 3 times 5 is equal to 15, but it has to be negative 15. So we have to go back and we have to choose one of these things to be negative. So we try it. So we say, okay, negative 15, which one's going to be negative? Let's try negative 3 and 5. When we add it together, you're going to get, geez, that doesn't work. Cross that out. And so then you try positive 3 plus -5. And if that equals our negative number at the end, our middle number at the end, we're good. And 3 times -5 equals -15, which is what we want. So then the numbers are this. -5 and 3. So now we'll go and make our brackets for our factorization. So we got x and x again, and then we're going to use -5 and +3 as our solution. And we're done. So these problems here, I'm actually going to post on the website for you, okay? So if you ever need it, you can always use this to help you do your final project for the day. All right?